All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Precision Hoops. We picked the topic, as you see, to talk about the 2011 Dallas Mavericks run. But first, I'll let everyone introduce themselves. Hoop God, you want to go first?
Yes. This is going to be a great episode. This is the Hoop God. It's imperative that we destroy these narratives. And this particular topic, talking about Dirk Nowitzki, one of my favorite players, is going to be very interesting.
Speam, how you doing?
I'm well, gathering my studio, trying to put my studio together. Got not much of a budget this week in terms of marketing, so we'll do the best we can.
Gotcha. All right, well, how do we want to start off? The only way I wanted to start off is I wanted to show my Game 3 ticket from 2011.
Wait, is that Jason Terry?
Nice.
This Terry, just so no one can pull my Maverick card. I went to Game 3. We lost
The
that
LeBron
game,
stopper.
Yeah, the giant killer.
Hey,
The
so I
giant
don't have a ticket, but I'm repping though. Okay.
I like it.
I hate most things Dallas, so I got some Dallas colored Jordans in the back. That's the best I can do.
Yeah.
I do want to call before we get started. As I was looking at highlights from that final series, I think I can't verify this. Maybe somebody can. This might have been the first and only time we saw LeBron actually insult somebody directly when he was making fun of Dirk's coughing thing. Granted, he was following D Wade as he did it, but that's the most direct I've ever seen him take a shot at a legitimate threat to him. We don't have a fact checker, but I can't remember that happening before then or after then.
Yeah, especially in that fashion, right? I can't think of anything either. And if I'm not mistaken, they still deny it to this day, right? That's what they were doing.
I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised.
I can't remember if the apology came off kind of like, sorry if you took it that way, or something of that nature. You know what I mean?
I do remember them not like owning it and kind of talking around it like it was just some coincidence. They were making fun of some other 7-foot German dude that was coughing, before a final series.
See, that's
So the first thing that pops up, it says in November 16, 2021, apparently Wade did an interview where he expressed his regret for the famous coughing video.
Oh, well, okay, that's something.
Good enough. We'll take it.
At least he regretted it.
What were you going to say, Hoop God?
No, I was just going to say that's what happens when karma, when she comes back to visit you sooner and quicker than you expect, because they were indeed mocking Dirk because they had already put the story out. It would have been different if they were doing their little coughs before they heard about it. But yeah, they had already interviewed Dirk and they knew he was under the weather. So my thing is like, nah, don't mock the man and then come back later and try to, well, we didn't mean, yeah, you did, bro. And Dirk, he went out there and destroyed you for doing that. And I enjoyed every minute of it. And I was actually a big D Wade guy at that time. But to me, that was a lack of class, lack of character. Like, you don't do that.
Yeah, and obviously I hated the Heat from 2006. So.
Oh, this for AOH. Hey, I got it right here, big dog. No, go ahead, Nick.
Oh, he's in here? Oh, okay. Call the NAACP. Yeah, call the NAACP.
Oh, man. But yeah. I mean, I don't know where else to start. The one thing I like to bring up that a lot of people forget is that we had Caron Butler that year, and he actually got hurt like a third of the way through the season, and he was playing, absolutely premier like glue guy basketball. He was guarding usually the first or second best player. He was, he averaged about 13, 14 points, but he'd go off for 20 every so often. Like, he was just playing really good ball at the time, I remember. And it's really unfortunate that he got hurt when he did. The team might have even coasted better than we thought in the playoffs had he stayed healthy.
So if I'm not mistaken, did they split the season series with them, or did they sweep them when they met them? Because before Caron got hurt, because I do remember when they played them that I don't think anybody anticipated the matchup, but Caron Butler, he did a fairly nice job of containing LeBron in the regular season. So
in the regular season, I can look that up. It'd take me just a second though.
okay, but yeah, while you're doing that, no, I remember Jason Terry. They were interviewing him. I think he was on. Was he on First Take or Undisputed? But yeah, he was like, yeah, Caron Butler went down, and I think Dirk suffered like a minor injury throughout the year.
Injury.
So
he had a hand injury in that series.
Hand injury, yeah. So it was like nobody saw them coming out the West, and it's like for Caron Butler to be your primary perimeter defender, that's kind of putting you at a disadvantage. But a guy that doesn't get enough credit is Jason Kidd. This man was 38. And he was schooling all of those, like Westbrook, Brandon Roy. I mean, shit, like Kobe. And y'all know I'm big on Kobe. Like, bro, that man was playing phenomenal throughout that playoff run. He don't get his credit neither.
Yeah, so in that box score, the first time that they played the Heat, LeBron had 23 on 5 of 19 shooting. So not very good. Caron Butler, 9 of 15 for 23 points as well. So, yeah, you could argue he outplayed LeBron.
What was his splits again?
Caron was 9 of 15 for 23 points. LeBron was 5 of 19.
Oh, dang.
So an even worse percentage for the same 23 points.
5 divided by 19. Yo, he held the man to 26% shooting.
Yeah, if Caron was guarding him most of the time, then yeah, he did pretty good.
That's something that doesn't get brought up because imagine if Caron plays in that series. Does it go 6 or does it go in 5?
I think it probably goes in 5. Caron was really honestly playing really good basketball at the time. It really is sad he didn't get to kind of join the team.
Do you guys know Dirk averaged 26 and 10 in that series?
Yeah.
That's insane.
So like Caron for 29 games was averaging 15, 4 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and a steal, and he was shooting essentially like 45, 46%, 43 from 3 as well, which I didn't know. He was shooting at a high clip that year from 3.
Now looking back on it now, in hindsight, that could have possibly swept them. Because when you add the Caron Butler element now, Dirk, he was like the main catalyst for the offensive side, but then you kind of like Jason Kidd can play more offensive minded because he did a phenomenal job on defense as well. I mean, Jason Terry, he just played out his mind. Now I'm just looking at it like that's another guy that's going to start, and then you can also throw him at LeBron to throw him off. Oh man, that's kind of wild. But getting back to Dirk, his field goal percentage wasn't impressive, but I would say to me that's a situation where it doesn't really matter because you won. Like, and then he showed up in the clutch when it mattered. Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't Dirk? I think didn't he total 26 total points in the clutch where LeBron had 0?
Yeah, it was something
in the 5x5
disparaging about that.
But not only that, Dirk hit that game winner with the same hand he hurt, and because that's why I remember the injury.
In game 4.
I feel like it was early in the series. I feel like it was like game 1 or 2, and he hit that lefty layup in the clutch with a hurt hand. And I'm not going to name any names, but there's other players I could think that might not even be in the game at that juncture. Or if they hurt their hand, they're probably getting a new hand 3D printed and making a big deal about it and talking about how they went to the so-and-so hand doctor, Just something to think about, somebody that they made fun of and called soft for so much of his career as a European big man that shot threes, came through in the clutch at the free throw line and in the paint during a time when that was difficult to do.
So on ESPN Next Level, coming through when it counts, crunch time in the final. So it's the 5x5. So it's the last 5 minutes, score within 5 points. Dirk had 26 total points. LeBron had 0. Dirk was 8 of 13. LeBron was 0 of 7. Dirk was perfect from the free throw line, 9 for 9. LeBron was a -16. Dirk was a +18. See, at that time, I didn't realize what all this meant. Now that I'm as well versed as I am now, so I'm like, wait a minute. So you're telling me in the fourth quarters you were that much of a liability, and Dirk was destroying you in the clutch? Like, we got to start putting Dirk in the GOAT debate now based off their logic.
Yeah, it was an impressive run. AOH was also asking like why the team was essentially like kind of so bad the next year, and they broke it up. Largely Tyson Chandler is the reason. Peja also retired. Caron Butler did not come back or was part of the team the next year. Nobody on that Mavs team the following year played over 63 games. So like they were just a bad time. I mean, again, they were an old team, right? So perhaps a little bit of the good luck that they had and not getting too injured the year before, although they missed a lot of games the year before as well, just not as much. It just kind of, they just, I mean, I'll be real honest. 2011 was absolutely capturing lightning in a bottle in a way. I'm not saying Dirk wasn't good enough, but the way that, I mean, they were a jump shooting team. They played great team defense. Everyone played their role. Like they absolutely got, started playing the right ball at the right time, and got hot at the right time. Right. No doubt about that. Like they had been a good team all year, but Dirk just absolutely went God mode, and everybody else played their role to a T as well, and they never gave up and all that kind of stuff. But to think that they were going to capture that again, even as a Mavs fan, I knew if they repeated when losing some of those key pieces, mainly Tyson Chandler, it would be crazier than the year before, right? So I think it caught up with them, right? Like I think they came together for that 1 year, and to think that they were going to do it again and everyone do the exact same thing, like you're asking a lot there, I think, as well. So but mainly Tyson Chandler leaving is the domino that kind of separates and starts everything.
When I was reading like the small details about the series, one of the things that came out was their motivation was because I don't remember this, but I guess Dwayne Wade was celebrating after game 2. And I don't remember like the nature of the celebration or anything like that, but I was reading that stood out as like motivation for the Mavericks as like another sign of disrespect. And I don't remember in the timeline where that happened in terms of that plus the coughing thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what you said earlier, Nick, yeah, when they couldn't pay Tyson Chandler, that was essentially the downfall, because I'm just gonna like simplify it like this. The Celtics never got back to the finals without KG, 2008, 2009, right? Once Ben Wallace got traded from the Pistons, they never went back to the finals. So I call it the Bill Russell effect. And no, before the chat, I am not putting Tyson Chandler anywhere near Bill Russell. I'm just speaking on the premium of a great post defender and rim protection. When you don't have that last line of defense, you're gonna see that in the aftermath, because when you know that you have that guy back there to clean up your mistakes, psychologically you're gonna go out and play more aggressive, from 35 to 37 feet, because you have somebody there that can clean up your mistakes, being that anchor of the defense. So you lose him, you're not going to get back to the finals, because again.
And one thing Tyson Chandler did not get enough credit for, and you could purposely see the Mavs do it, is he was staying home on that backside block, just begging for someone to lob it up to him. And you can see a lot of times the Mavs offense, Dirk essentially he'd do that pin post, but anyone else or anyone else who got involved and drove, I mean, that was number one, is like if you beat your man, I mean, you're trying to find where Tyson is. And he really did a lot to keep the defense honest, and he kept that off defender, that second wave of, the other team's big man had to stay home. They couldn't just roll around and help defense, and a lot of offside rebounds as well. Like on the offensive end, he did a lot of things that don't show up again, like on the stat sheet. But I always remember that guys just getting wide open layups a lot, and they just refuse to get off Chandler because he's a very good agile guy too for how big he is, and he's got great hands as well.
Yeah, so allowing him to walk, that put a dent in their defense. And then I think like you said, Caron Butler, he didn't come back, so that's another perimeter defender. Was Sean Marion
Kid's already ancient. Yeah, Sean Marion is now ancient. Like it just Jason Terry's old. Like that was an old team to begin with, right? Yeah. So
I think Jason Kidd left too, didn't he?
No, Jason Kidd stuck around. I think one more year, and then he left. I think when he realized it wasn't going to happen.
Was there a big similarity between that team and the team that got smashed by the Warriors? In that when the Warriors were the 8 seed and Dallas was the 1 seed that same year, Dirk won the MVP.
So in the Warriors, I think we had Eric Dampier was our center. I can't remember if we still had Rayful Friends at that time. But yeah, like I don't even know if we had Sean Bradley still. We might have had
Dampier was a big dude.
Yeah,
he was, but no hands, no coordination. Just he was really frustrating to watch. He had that one good year in Golden State, and the Mavs thought he was the guy for the job to kind of be that final piece. Chandler before Chandler in a way. Yeah. He just never filled the shoes. My favorite Dampier stat. This is gonna be the best. This is gonna be the funniest thing of the night. Dampier goes to the Mavs, loses to the Heat in 2006. Goes to the Heat and then loses to the Mavs in 2011.
Damn.
Only Dampier, man. That guy just had the worst luck. I sometimes felt sorry for him. But yeah, in terms of similarity, Dirk definitely was not the same. Dirk was definitely not go to the hole kind of guy yet. I think he would settle a lot for jump shots. He complained to the refs a little bit. I still think mentally he was soft that year. Maybe 2006 it kind of broke him in a way. But I think, and if I remember right after that year, right after 2000, it was 2007, right? They got beat that in the first seed the next year.
Yeah,
and Dirk talked about it. He got his MVP trophy, and he went like on a long backpacking thing out in Australia to just get away with him and his coach. I think his shooting coach, like that. Definitely, I think that was like his origin story. He was like, I've had enough of this shit. And even though the next few years were rough, he was a little different. He wanted to get better shots. He demanded everyone play their role right. He definitely became, I think, a little more intense and deliberate with how he played. And let's see, in that, I don't think we had, we didn't have Nash.
Did not have Nash.
Okay. No, Nash wasn't there.
We didn't have Nash.
Josh Howard, Jason Terry. Did y'all have Devin Harris?
Josh Howard, Devin Harris. Yeah, I think we had Devin Harris as well. Brandon Bass, one of my favorite Mavericks of the time. Let's see. I'm looking at it right now.
Wasn't that the year Baron Davis dunked on? It might have been Dampier.
Yeah, against.
It was AK-47. That's
Andre Karolinko in the second round. Yeah, that was that year.
One of the craziest.
Stackhouse. We had Stackhouse. I forgot about that. Josh Howard, Devin Harris, Devin George, Dampier, JJ Barea. Although he hadn't quite. He was a rookie.
The LeBron stopper.
Yeah, and and also you have to realize, like, they played Don Nelson, the former guy who literally created Dirk, like found Dirk and knew what he was. So you'd have to think he knows his weaknesses. They go small ball. They essentially just put Dirk on an island. Like, I think, yeah, it was just the perfect storm as well. I think from an opponent perspective, right? He just knew the perfect counter to Dirk, how to put Dirk on an island like that. And I think it was a big learning experience for him.
Yeah, that's kind of diabolical going against a team that you coached all those years, so you know Dirk's weaknesses. Like that's evil.
Yeah, I mean, and he played it to a T, man. It was just one of those things where, like, if I remember right, the first game or two, it was just like, this is not a good feeling. Like, I don't feel like Golden State just went out here and got lucky. Like, I feel like they know exactly what they're trying to do, and they're doing it way too efficiently and effectively, right? It didn't feel good right from the go.
Mm-mm.
Was that the first 8-1 like, was that the first time
No,
and eight
no,
seed
the
for the 1
Nuggets,
seed? No.
Nuggets,
The
Nuggets
Nuggets.
got upset by they upset the Supersonics in what?
But
90?
that was when they played best of 5, I think.
Yeah.
And so the Mavs were the first time they lost a best of 7 in the first round, I think. I think that's true.
Okay. Yeah.
And then in 2011, weren't the Spurs the first seed? And they lost?
Who'd they
Wait,
play in that round?
Was that?
Memphis?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Were they the first seed? I had to check that.
If that was Memphis, was that was Zach Randolph on that team, or was he with the Blazers?
Yeah, it was Zach Randolph and Mark Gasol.
Yeah,
Zach Randolph's
Memphis
another
beat
one that
San
needs his
Antonio
flowers.
and 4-2 and 8 over a 1 seed. So that's kind of funny. That's like just some irony, I suppose.
Oh yeah, rest in peace to Dikembe Mutombo. Thank you for that in the chat.
Yeah, and Pete Rose.
And and Pete Rose, and like 3 other people.
Same day, right? Was
Actually.
it the same day?
Yeah, that's crazy. It was the same day.
Where do you has anyone ever asked you, Nick, just to veer real quick, if you'd rather take prime Luka or prime Nowitzki?
Well, prime Dirk has won a ring, and he's hit massive shots in a playoff run and just offensively put a team on his back. Luka almost did it last year, essentially. Just from like what they can do. I mean, I do think prime Luka is pretty insane. Like not just he rebounds well for his position and his scoring, but like his passing. I mean, he makes a pass every night or every other night that's just incredible, right? Like I really think his passing is underrated. I mean, so if they're clicking on all cylinders, statistically Luka is better than Dirk, I will admit it. But prime Dirk got a ring. So like if you're just asking me from their peak and prime so far, I got to go Dirk.
Okay.
But from a skill set, I still think Luka is I think even Dirk would tell you that too. Like he's light years ahead where Dirk was at this point in his career.
And also, we don't even know if
I don't think that's
Luka's even
controversial.
hit his
Some
prime.
people, I think mentally he is. I think he's hopefully we begin to see some of that seasoning mentally mixed in with his game and how he plays and whatnot. But I I don't think that Luka, from just a skill set and productivity wise, saying he's, leaps and bounds better than where Dirk was at this point, and maybe even just overall, if he continued to do this for another 5 years, 7 years, it's crazy to think where Luka could end up. It's just absolutely insane. I think Dirk would tell you the same. I'm pretty sure he has, essentially, in so many words.
Yeah, I'd love to see Dirk come back and just kind of like maintain some kind of coaching or advising, with the Mavericks, because he just seems like such a likable person and somebody that like really gets it from the player's perspective. You know what I mean?
He does some freelance light work stuff, I think. Nothing official, because I think he really does enjoy his retirement. I think you've probably noticed that about him. He kind of stepped back and just been a family guy. Yeah. But I do think he does some spot work here for the Mavs.
Hey, Dart trying to get a fire started down there in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
What'd he say? Also, shout out to Dirk for having a black wife. So you go, Dirk. Your kids look just like me.
Yeah. Listen, I value Dirk. That one ring that Dirk won has more value than all 4 of LeBron's cheap rings. I'm sorry. You can't leave your organization, go team up, not only with another champion, but your draft mate, right? That's like essentially Dirk saying, hey, I can't beat the Miami Heat, so I'm going to go team up with Paul Pierce. No, I'm sorry. That run that Dirk had, to me, is more impressive than any playoff run LeBron had in any championship that LeBron had. I don't care what his fans say. I don't care how much they beg and plead and scream and cry. No, Dirk stayed pat. He built his team up, and he's a homegrown champion, and he has more respect. So I don't care what anybody has to say. That run right there is better than anything LeBron ever did to me, even 2016.
Especially if Jason Terry is your second offensive threat.
That outscored A two-time MVP. Let that sink in for a moment.
Yeah, LeBron in the finals really is kind of, because I'm not gonna lie, like I saw a semi youthful, athletic, up and down, star driven team, and I thought if Wade and Bosch can be productive in the times they have to be in the half court, which I thought they could be, right? They're great players. I really thought like these things could get away from us real quick, right? I mean, if they're running and the times we don't let them run, if they're able to get anything out of the half court with those guys,
Yeah.
because I thought in the half court those guys would be more of a go-to than LeBron.
Yeah.
I really thought this, like, it could be a quick series, right? And they played LeBron perfectly. They really I think exposed him and played him well. And man, yeah, I mean, you very rarely, right? Do you get so many things at once? The bad guy image, the villain of LeBron, everyone cheering for Dirk, right? It's very rarely, I think, is everything like such a perfect storm. And for the way the Mavs beat them in 2011, I think just adds to the mythos of it, right? Because you think about like the Rockets run, people bring up that a lot, and there's other great runs, right? But who they beat at the end it's just absolutely chef's kiss, right? For if you're
Like
a
a
fan
movie.
or whatever side you're on.
It's like a movie. And not to mention,
Really
you got
was.
Mark Cuban, who's a basketball enthusiast, who's like a basketball enthusiast, you know what I mean? And at that point, he was so anti-establishment, you know, like owners weren't like him. He was in the stands, he was yelling in people's faces, he was engaged, and that did a lot to sell, you know, a series. Because I wasn't a big fan of Dirk in the beginning. I liked him and Nash. But to me, it was like, oh, here come this tall guy just shooting threes and playing soft and complaining after every call. But man, like when he was tested, you know, he said, all right, well, we're done with that. And, you know, watching him hit that game winner with, I don't know if it was a break or a fracture, but even staying in that game, if I remember, it was like this lefty underhand, like
Yeah, it's
scoop
like
thing.
left ring finger. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, yo, that takes guts. And I forget who their big man was, who the Heat's big man was back then. I don't remember. Was
Chandler?
Haslam starting?
Oh, you mean for the Heat? Yeah, Haslam was still around. Yeah.
So that guy's a bruiser. You know what I mean? Like it was tough in the paint back then. It's not like now.
So another thing I noticed with that, Dirk actually exploited where their weaknesses, right? Because when they would put a bigger like Bosch, well, Dirk was just at that time he was just playing on another level. He could just blow by Bosch, or he could shoot over him, but most of the time he beat him off the dribble. But then if they put a smaller guy on him, right? Like Dirk would not try to blow by D Wade or LeBron or Haslam. He would take those 1-2 dribbles, turn
right
around,
to shoulder.
Right, one-legged fadeaway. So either one or two things was going to happen. He was going to convert the shot, or he's going to get fouled and go to the free throw line. And what he was doing is anytime like the Heat would go on a run, right? More often than not, and I'm gonna give Jason Terry his credit, but more often than not, it was Dirk who could either get fouled, go to the free throw line, slow the momentum down, slow the pace down, you know, get it back in Dallas's favor, you know, let their defense get back going. And then when they would kind of like sag off LeBron and dare him to shoot and like make him overthink, like that's when they put him in a conundrum because he did not want to shoot that shot. And they knew it. And it's like, bruh, come on, man. Like, you got to be a decoy or something. But it's like, nah, I noticed like in that series, like Dirk was making all those pivotal plays, like what, 80% of the time. Like I said, giving credit to Jason Terry as well. But like Dirk was making those pivotal plays that was like stop the Heat's momentum. And then, in game 2, like you said, Spin, they were up 15 points and they started celebrating. And I think that's when Jason Terry kind of lit the fire and was like, hey, don't 2006, we're not doing this again.
Yeah, Terry looked down the bench and he said something like not like this or something. Yeah. He said something like that. He did apparently because that was when Wade hit that 3 right in front of their bench and he like let it hang. And then LeBron came over and started like, doing
Yeah.
boxing on his chest or
that's
whatever.
what that was.
And Terry was right there, and he looked at him, man. You could see in his face, he's like, man, like you just saw, he's like, get that shit out of here. And like, apparently he went to the bench and he looked at everybody and he went, not like this, man.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, that's a crazy story. And Terry does not get enough credit. He got the Larry O'Brien trophy on his bicep before the year started. He said, he's like, I think we got a good team. I think we're gonna do it. Like, Terry does not get enough credit for that. That should go down as one of the all-time sports calls, and no one ever talks about it.
I agree, but let's slow down. As somebody that directly opposes tattoos, this shit was like this big. So it's not like if they lost,
yeah.
It was take like
small.
A fucking Sharpie and cover that up. You know what I mean? What I will say though, even deeper, is that's around the same time LeBron was, as his hairline came back, his headband got bigger, right? And I guess it's funny, but that's also around the time you could tell he was really sensitive about his appearance and how he was portrayed. And like, you could tell all that stuff got under his skin. You got to see it in live action during the game because Dallas basically played on that. All right, well, like, we're going to expose your sensitive self. We're going to get under your skin and it's going to show. And look what happens. He folds. And what's even more frustrating is just if you go back and look at the press conferences, he doesn't give credit to Dallas at all. Like, at all. He just makes excuses about everything, about his poor play and how he wasn't interested in basketball. And it's like, yo, what are we doing here?
Now that you say that, I remember Wade. It was game 4 or 5 in Dallas where Dirk had like a little spun baseline. I think he was going right. He like spun baseline and was going up for a layup, and it's a pretty famous shot from the finals because it was like a clutch shot, like essentially put Dallas up. They go on to win the game, but Wade comes kind of flying by and he kind of pulls his hands back like he was gonna block it or not. And like after the game or sometime later, Wade said, "I could have blocked it if I wanted to, but." I can't remember what he says, but essentially it was an excuse, like another, like I could have blocked it if I wanted to or something like that. But I thought maybe the refs would call it wrong or something like that. It was some kind of excuse like that. I just remember thinking like, man, this is like fucked up. Like you got beat. Like just take it,
right.
Like just own it. We hate when people do this, But I remember Wade dismissing a big shot by Dirk too.
Wait, was that game 3 when the Heat came back?
Game 3 was the one I went to. Dirk missed like a 15 or 16 footer straight away. He did have a hand in his face, but it was straight away and just went off the back iron and bounced off. And like I wanted that shot so bad because I was there, but no, he missed that one. They lost. It was game 4 or 5 where he hit that little layup.
No, I was asking, was it after game 3 when Jason Terry said we'll see if he can keep it up for 7 games or something like that? That's when he really was calling out LeBron.
That's a dope line.
Yeah, because I think that's when they came back and won game 3. And then I think that's when they kind of like, it really was like prevalent. Jason Terry was like, we'll see if we can keep it up, for the whole series. I'm like, wait a minute, bro. Not only did this man call you out, but then he hit a dagger in game 5 in your face. Like he sized you up. And just, bro, like when they say he can guard 1 through 5, I'm like, yo, he can't even guard 2. So how are you going to guard?
I never seen Jason Terry play like that ever.
You can't even guard a 2 guard, man. Like that dude told you can't guard me, and then he hit a 3 in your face.
Yeah, and it was literally the next game where he had 8 points. LeBron had 8 points, game 4.
Wait a minute. You telling me he had the same amount of points as JJ Barea? They both had 8 points.
Is that what JJ Barea had?
I think so. Let me check that.
Yeah, Barea had 8 points as well. That's funny.
Are there any other superstars that have like a kryptonite player like that? Like LeBron not being able to score on JJ Barea is like an all-time kind of like strike against him, right? I can't think of anything else like that.
He got
multiple. Oh, I know. That's what's even crazier. That's what's even wilder. All the other greats, it's like, well, do they have any like Achilles heels in the form of 1 or 2 players?
Some guy comes off the bench and they're just like, oh, crap. Like, I hate this guy.
Right. Exactly. Oh, we're done.
So okay,
Yeah.
so we could say Delhi was like semi kryptonite for Curry, but Curry like woke up and
Dellavedova.
he
Delhi was
started.
dirty.
Totally,
He played
totally
dirty
forgot
that
about that
whole.
guy.
And he's Australian.
Hey,
They
I
get
give
He's
him.
got to
Hey,
play dirty, man. You got
I give him
Curry on the
credit.
other side. What
Hey,
else you gonna
That's
do?
true.
that kid had to get an IV that he was so tired from chasing Curry around. So I give him credit.
He played his ass off. He got a shoe contract off that.
Let me see. JJ Barea. Yep, JJ Barea had 8 points. He matched LeBron.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
man,
funny.
that is
Probably a
hilarious.
higher percentage too. Probably a higher
I'll
percentage.
never forget when they mentioned LeBron set some record, like most double-digit point games in a row or something. And I was like, I know where the last one was. It was in the finals in 2011.
Yep. That's right around when they kept keeping him in the game so he could maintain that
So
record. Would sit.
Dart asks, is Dirk greater than Barkley? I got Dirk over Barkley.
In terms of a career, I think so. Again, in terms of a skill set, it's hard to beat Barkley, man. Barkley was an absolute monster.
I don't think I can. What Barkley did at his size was like it shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Statistically and also two-way ability, Barkley's, probably a better player. But
That's a great question.
Dirk's career, I would take Dirk's career over Barkley's in a heartbeat, right?
Oh, I don't. I mean, championship aside, because that's what they play for. Barkley, I feel like generally speaking, all the time is considered. He has a high like. I feel like he's a little bit more respected than Dirk. I don't know why. I don't have anything to go off of.
Yeah, so I mean, like as a player on the floor, Barkley is probably better, right? Just all around can do more.
Yeah.
But in terms of a career, like I definitely taken Dirk. I feel pretty confident about that one.
Yeah. And then like just going back to that Mavericks team, see what they showed the Heat is that my turn, your turn, it's only going to take you so far. Like you still have to play within the team system and dominate within the framework. You got to have ball movement, player movement, design plays for Jason Terry, design plays for Dirk, design plays for Kidd, for Chandler, Sean Marion. See, when you do that, that gets those guys going, and it makes them want to get back and hustle and give that extra effort on the defensive side. Yeah, you're not going to block every shot, but if you can at least get a good contention, right? And if he hits it, hey, like Mark Jackson say, good defense, better offense. But more often than not, how many times is that going to be the situation? If you're consistently contesting a guy, he's going to start missing eventually. Get out, get on the break, move the ball, score, take the momentum back. And then you got Jason Kidd at that time, like, man, his jumper was wet. I'm like, I could tell him and Dirk, like that all that additional practice with Dirk, just getting his shooting, because Dirk knew he was going to need him eventually, like, hey, I'm going to need you to hit big shots. Yo, that man was not missing. And I'm like, bruh, see, that shows you right there that.
Yeah, and I forget where he finished, but I think when he retired, Jason Kidd was like number 3 all time on the 3-point makes.
He doesn't get
kind of crazy.
I think he was second before Ray Allen. Like Ray Allen kind of caught him like Curry caught Ray Allen, because I want to say he was second all time, but it was kind of like a short stint. Because like I think Ray Allen I want to say it was like the next 2 years he had caught Jason Kidd and then eventually passed Reggie Miller.
Jason Kidd was an intelligent player. I mean, aside from beating his wife and drunk driving and stuff, like he was a very smart basketball player. He doesn't get talked about enough because he wasn't he wasn't crazy athletic. But man, like he was such a great floor general. That he doesn't, like, he was like one of the first guards at least in my lifetime to damn near average a triple-double. And he wasn't even a scorer. He wasn't like this dynamic dribbler. He couldn't finish that well at the rim, couldn't jump that high. But he'll have like 18, 13, and 10 out of nowhere.
So
you would never know it.
Yeah, I think because he's so unorthodox, people they're like hesitant to like say how good he was at playing point guard because he doesn't quite fit that mold.
See, that's why when people like dig up these triple doubles, right? I always ask, is it the Magic Johnson, Jason Kidd, Nikola Jokic type triple doubles, or is it the LeBron James, Russell Westbrook,
Draymond Green triple doubles?
Yeah, Draymond Green. Is it those type of
triple singles?
Because my thing is, and I don't let me forget James Harden. Like, you putting up these 60-point triple doubles, but you're doing it against bottom feeder teams. That don't translate to the playoffs unless you're doing it organically. And that's why I say that, because you don't see those other guys like Kidd, Jokic, and Magic chasing triple doubles. No, they just end up. It's just like it happens organically. But that's what the team needs. So no.
And I remember actually. I'll be honest. Like, I was not a big fan of getting Jason Kidd. If you remember, at that time, the West had like Mike Bibby, Chris Paul, forgetting the guy who played Tony Parker.
Yeah.
Like, all the guards in the West were just fast, quick. It's just, and when we got Kidd, I just remember thinking, like, this is not going to end well. Like, I just don't think this is a good fit defensively.
You didn't see the bigger picture.
Yeah, but his off ball and his like command, and obviously being a general on the floor, like, obviously paid dividends in the end, right? But I just remember thinking, like, Nash had a hard time keeping up with these guys on the defensive end. He gets smoked too. I just remember thinking, like, man, this kid is old. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember that hard foul he had on Chris Paul that one time where he, like, kind of grabbed his head.
Yeah.
Like, Chris Paul was going up and he kind of grabbed his head because he just was kind of so slow and clumsy. He was trying to foul him, but didn't really know how to do it. I mean, and it looked like he almost killed Chris Paul. But
that's
yeah,
I just remember, anytime you hit Chris Paul.
Yeah, and I just remember, and I'll be honest, like, I was not a big fan of getting Kidd at that time. I just thought he was lost a step too many, and he was going to get crushed. But
how'd you guys get him?
He pulled it out. We signed him, I think, a free agency. I don't think we traded for him.
Who was your guard before him? Was it Steve? It was Steve Nash right before him, right?
Devin Harris.
Not right before him.
Oh, Devin Harris! Wow.
Yeah. I'm trying to. There might have been a guy or two in between there.
I cannot think of Dallas guards. That's weird.
I think what that element that Dirk brought, and it was kind of like a lost art, because like you said, Tony Parker, Bibby, Chris Paul, but those guys were like predominantly face up, and what Kidd brought was kind of like that Chauncey Billups element. He could post you up, like he could face up, but he could also post you up. And that's like what a lot of these TikTok kids don't understand. And I have to keep reiterating this. Like, you have to have a post game in the playoffs. Okay. If you want to control and dictate the pace, you have to have some modicum of a post game. And that's what Kidd could do in that high post. I mean, he could post out to the 3-point line, but when you could turn your back to your opponent, back him down, and then, get that clear like sight for a better pass. I mean,
Tony Parker was great at that too.
Yeah, right. But I'm like, when you got somebody like Kidd, it's going to be a matchup problem. Now, yeah, granted, they may, kind of zip past him on the offensive side, but I think a couple times, he could hold his own. But no, you got a high IQ guy like that, and he getting that pick and roll with Dirk. Oh no, they're gonna do some damage. Like
Dirk on the shoulder with that elbow jumper. That's going in every time. I don't think I've ever seen him miss that.
And yeah, so apparently we did trade for Kidd, and now that I read it, I remember why I didn't like it, because we gave up. Do you remember D Sagana Jop? Do you remember him?
Yeah, DIOP Jop. Yep.
Yeah, I think he started with us, and he was kind of coming into his own at the time. We traded him, Devin Harris, Keith Van Horn, which is just a name drop at that point.
Van Horn.
But we also gave up a first-round pick, and I just remember thinking, like, we got slower at the guard position. And we gave up a lot for him in a first-round pick. I do remember now thinking, like, I don't think this is a good trade, but I was proven wrong.
I forgot about Keith Van Horn. I wonder how he was drafted by the Nets, right? If I remember correctly, he was supposed to be like the next big thing.
Yeah.
I forgot about him.
The Nets, Philadelphia, the Knicks, Milwaukee, and then he ended up with us, and he retired in 05-06 with us.
Who do you dislike more, him or Chandler Parsons? Because he was a Mav for a while, right?
Yeah, we overpaid for Chandler Parsons, but the one thing I always loved about Parsons is he would recruit. He got the game of trying to get other people to come to your team. So yes, we overpaid for him. Absolutely, he fleeced us. But I always liked that he was always trying to get people to come to Dallas, like good free agents, things like that. And Dallas has just never been a free agent destination. And so for someone to come in and do that, just for that alone, I always liked him. And he always comes off as like a pretty laid back guy. Like he seems pretty silly, like doesn't take himself seriously.
Yeah.
So I like him about that. I don't know much about Keith. I feel like he stayed pretty quiet.
He did.
I definitely remember him
was
playing here, but he was older at that point. So, I don't know. I just hate that we spent so much on Parsons and got nothing for it.
Well, you got someone to recruit for your team. Why is Dallas such like? There's no tax right on their contracts in Dallas, if I remember correctly.
No income tax, no.
Right. So why is it such a why don't players want to play there, or why back then did they not want to play there?
I don't know. It's always been like an interesting question. Like, remember DeAndre Jordan bailing on us too?
Yeah.
The hotel room thing. The hotel room thing. Well, that was
just
creepy.
For whatever reason, like we just cannot hit on people. And I don't know if because Dirk is just not the most attractive guy to want to play with, I guess. Maybe if you're more of the slashing scoring type. I don't know. But yeah, and Mark Cuban totally had changed the atmosphere when he came in. So I don't think it's anything from a lack of him trying. I can't explain it. Like I honestly can't explain it. And honestly, when we got Nico Harrison, who we have now, I have totally underestimated his like networking ability and his ability because he worked at Nike before, and him getting Kyrie, and Kyrie's a well-liked guy around the league. Like he's definitely a guy people seem to want to come play with more than others. And I think him playing with Luka gives Luka more credence to be like, hey, playing with Luka's fun. So like, yeah, Nico Harrison, we need to build a statue for that guy if we win a ring, because he is totally just in a year or two just completely turned our roster construction around, the roster on the floor around. Like it's a totally different atmosphere now than what we were just talking about, how nobody ever wanted to go to Dallas.
Do you guys have people on the trading block this year?
Well, I guess people are always kind of available. I think Maxey could possibly be up for trade. Jaden Hardy might be up for trade. I think Jaden Hardy can evolve into a decent scoring point guard, which I think we need to come off the bench. But if they want to wait around and pay him another couple of years after this year, I'm not sure. So if there's some interest in him as a young guard who might be able to blossom in the next 2-3 years, someone might like that. I think Maxey could very well get traded. But other than that, no, I don't really think there's a lot of trade bait. Again, Nico went out and got Grant Williams last year, and he doubled down and traded him, in a matter of months, right? So whatever Nico Harrison's cooking up, I'm okay with it. It doesn't feel like we have a lot of assets we're willing to move unless a deal just comes around that Nico just feels like has to be pulled. But I don't think a lot of guys are up for trade this year. I think the roster is pretty set.
Mm-hmm. So this is another interesting a fact that I kind of stumbled up on accidentally. The Dallas Mavericks were the second oldest team to win a championship, and they had no first team all defensive players. Tyson Chandler made the second team all defense.
When you say oldest team, you mean like the longest since someone's won it or never won it?
No, age-wise, if you combine them, like the 96 Bulls were the oldest team to win a championship.
Oh, you mean the actual age of the players. Yeah, 100%, yeah.
I was like, but see that again, that shows me where it's not always like, it's not about your athleticism and your talent. No, it's about your skills, your IQ, and your execution.
And your heart, man. Your
heart. Yeah, can you capitalize on your opponent's mistakes, right? So, yeah, I just want to throw that out there because that's something else they this era is so much bigger, stronger, faster. Yeah, okay, but you had two of the most athletically gifted guys in They got destroyed by some old guys.
And it's like, yo, what difference does that make? Because it's like, would you rather take Jason Kidd posting up or John Morant just running into the paint blindly trying to get some kind of weird highlight? You know what I mean? It's like, what are we talking about here? Yeah, all right, you're stronger or faster. That's cool, but that doesn't necessarily equate to winning. I mean, if anything, 2011 showed us that. Like, the Heat had all the athletes.
It's just like
every single one of them.
It's like with the Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, like, not to digress, Wilt's bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic. Bill Russell's out executing him. He's out smarting him. Like,
right.
Beat him 7 times.
That's silly to me. Like,
yeah, and Dart's asking Jason Kidd or Steve Nash, but I've already had this debate with
oh yeah, I already
had this debate with Robin.
I'm taking Kidd.
Yeah, I'm taking Kidd. I mean, with respect to Nash, but if you take away his shooting, okay, he can be a playmaker, but what else is he bringing?
I don't know, man. His pick and pop, Steve Nash's pick and pop with the screen, I feel like it's unstoppable. I don't know anybody else other than like maybe Stockton and Malone.
Yeah.
In my lifetime I've seen run pick and rolls
Nash
like
is
that.
the purest offensive point guard we've maybe ever seen.
Yeah,
he's the purest offensive point guard. Yeah, can you give another example of one?
He's up there.
I should even be more specific. Maybe the best or the purest offensive half court point guard, even though I think he was underrated in the open court, but just the ability, like you said, manufacture offense, the passes he makes, the plays he calls. I think he's smart. He can score all 3 levels. And what he did with the Suns after Amari got hurt, and he still led that team to this another unprecedented offensive season. Like, and I know he ran in D'Antoni's system and all that, but I just think handles, shooting, IQ, running an offense. I just think on the offensive side, I think he's maybe the best we've seen. Just running a half-court offense, if that makes sense.
It does. And he, like, again, he had toughness. Like, I've seen this man get up with his nose bleeding. I've seen this man with his arm just hanging there. And he's, 6'2", 6'3", not crazy athletic. His IQ is off the charts.
50-40-90 club.
50-40-90 club. There was something else I felt like that was, guess what? He made players better. Can you believe that? Yeah. And you can prove it with numbers. We're not talking about Amari Stoudemire at all now. And we may not be talking about Dirk without Steve Nash. Like, and you can prove that with real numbers and facts, not by saying, we caught him on camera saying, if every time one of you guys falls, well, I'll pick you up. And then nobody picks you up.
I showed I showed the Game 3 ticket from the 2011 finals. I also got really lucky, and we somehow got suites, but it was like a couple years before, and it was the year that Nash just came down and just pulled up on a dagger on us and hit a 3 right over Terry to win the game. It was like Western Conference semis or something like that. Man, that was another experience I had in American Airlines Center. Unfortunately, not a good one though.
What year was that?
I can't remember. Definitely before 2011, obviously. So it must have been 2008, 2009, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Does Jason Terry have the most surprise performance of anybody you've seen in a final series? Yeah.
Ooh. I mean, I don't know. He's always been a flamethrower off the bench. So I feel like he just does what he does, but he just did it at a slightly higher level when it was needed. So, was it a big surprise? Not really. He did what he always does. He in Dallas, anytime he lets it fly, I think it's good, right? He's a great shooter. I think one of the most underrated three-point shooters for sure of all time, I think, in terms of being underrated. So no, I wouldn't say it was that crazy. He just did it on the biggest stage, right? And so it's to me, I think he did what he was supposed to do, right? If I'm open, if Dirk passes me the ball, I got to hit this thing, right? And he just did it.
So basketball IQ, I'm taking Kidd over Nash. Who y'all taking?
I'm taking Kidd.
The I think the two-way IQ, kids off ball defense is pretty spectacular for a point guard. So I'd probably give him the edge there.
I think he might be more intelligent than Steve Nash also in terms of basketball IQ, which is a compliment to Steve Nash. But Jason Kidd, he has like one of the all-time craziest coach plays ever. When he had what's his face bump into him and knock his cup over to cause that timeout.
Yeah.
Like that was insane.
He's done that a couple times. I feel like he did something else once.
That was hella clever. Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, but he did something else like that once.
Right. I mean, it's like thinking outside of the sport, and he was really, really good at that, and he made up for all his lack of. I've never seen him dunk. I don't think actually, at least in the pros. I got to go, J Kidd.
I think he once called a timeout knowing he didn't have any timeouts so he could make a substitution. I think that was something else he had done once. If I remember right. Yeah.
Well, I would have hated to see him coach the Lakers, let alone LeBron.
Hey, and then we also have to factor in now. I think they're both floor raisers, but you got to look at that squad Kidd took to the finals in 2002 and 03. Mm-hmm. Nash not doing that, and it's all respect to Nash.
Yeah, I could maybe agree with that. Although I think Kenyon Martin maybe offensively eats a little more with Nash. Maybe.
I mean, yeah, offensively he probably would. Yeah.
Who else was on that team? Don't say Richard Jefferson.
I was just about to say Richard Jefferson.
I know you were. That's why I stopped you.
Kerry Kittles, RJ.
Who's the redheaded center? I forget his name.
Redheaded center.
Damn. Did he go? He went up against Shaq in 2001. Is that right?
Oh, shoot. Not.
I gotta look that up real quick. Hold up.
Not the White Mamba. Not Scalabrine. No, it wasn't Brian Scalabrine, right? Okay.
No, he's more like a true center.
2002 finals.
Dang.
And what? There was Kerry Kittles also. Was Keith Van Horn on that team?
I feel like he was. I thought Vince Carter was, but I guess he was with the Raptors at that point. Oh, Vince Carter was?
No, he was on the Nets until 2001, 2002. Keith Van Horn.
Okay.
Is it Todd McCullough?
McCullough, yeah.
Oh man! Wow, McCullough. Whew. I watched that dude get just absolutely harassed on the floor.
Poor guy, dude. He just had to guard Shaq and
he looked so upset that whole series. He was like, Kenyon, please just come and foul this dude, please.
He was hating it. Poor guy, dude.
That's gotta be miserable. Having to be in that paint with Shaq there, because during that time, you can't win that matchup no matter what you do. And that's why I keep saying the Shaq Kobe duo in that time, in real time, was the most dominant thing I had ever seen. In a sport almost.
And I hated them. The other guy was Aaron Williams, the other one.
That dude had some handle too. That was another slept-on guard. He was just not a real guard. He was like a two guard. His handle was nuts though.
Oh no, you talking about Lucius Harris? That was the other guard. The rotation.
Harris, that sounds familiar too.
Yeah.
Off topic, can I tell you how I know I'm old? Somebody put in the chat when we first started, because we were talking about actor deaths, and they said the actor that played Mufasa died. And I got so defensive. Right, because it's like, just say James Earl Jones. That's how I know I'm old. Like, if you can't identify him as James Earl Jones, it's time for me to, go out to pasture.
Yeah, you didn't go with like Darth Vader. I always think of him in Sandlot. Whenever the first thing I think of when I think of James Earl Jones, for whatever reason, I think of Sandlot.
I think Darth Vader immediately, almost.
Yeah, that's probably the most popular one, but I think of Sandlot for whatever reason. Where he's holding the ball and he's like, he says something. He's like, "You're trying to get this ball back." And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "And you're in big trouble, aren't you?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I could tell."
I can't remember if he was in Field of Dreams or not. I feel like he was.
Y'all want to open the call line?
He was. Yeah.
Amari is one of the great players that'll be. I don't know if I have Amari as a great player. Like, I feel like, because he's not a traditional big man, but damn it, you don't want to be in the paint when he's there. Because it's not like he had like a back to the basket skill set.
I think he would be like his style of play. It was great for the D'Antoni system, but he would be even better in this era with more spacing. And then I know he
He'd
was
be hurting
always
people.
dunk it, but I think he would probably settle for more jumpers, which would prolong his career. Because man, when that dude went to the Knicks, he looked like a totally different player. Like all that dunking took a toll on his back.
Can you post that comment from Woodage 84?
What did he say?
He said James Earl Jones played a good parody of Dark Helmet in Star Wars. That's some clever stuff. That's clever. That's funny.
Little Spaceballs.
Little Spaceballs reference.
Yeah.
Dang. Who was the third leading scorer on that team? Because Jason Terry was the second leading scorer on that 2011 Mavericks team, right?
Oh,
I guess Sean Marion.
Well, yeah, I think it was Sean Marion.
Sean the Matrix, man, oh man.
No, he with the T-Rex shot. I still don't see how dudes shoot like that. Like, I'm like, bro, how do you do that? Like what?
It goes
in. Technically,
Perron
was averaging 15, but he got hurt. Marion would be up next.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. He was a perfect fit too because he was that guy that, he wasn't. If he gave you any type of offense, it was just, like icing on the top because he was like doing all the dirty work, rebounding, defense, contesting shots, setting picks, boxing out. Like he was doing all that.
It was nice to see Peja get a ring as well. Some
people forget about
that. Peja lit up the Lakers in that second round, man. He was killing them, man.
He had a good game or two, yeah.
Man.
I wasn't a big Peja fan, even when he was on the Kings, because he played that Reggie Miller ball to me where it's just like run around, don't get hit, take an open jumper, and then mean mug somebody like you're tough. And I loved the Kings back then too. But something about him specifically bothered me. Were him and Vlade on the same team at the same time with the Kings?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
maybe that's what it was because Vlade bothered me too, and there was like association there that I just got under my skin.
I hated the Kings. Well, I didn't hate. I actually liked playing the Kings as a Mavs fan, but obviously, like that was when like the saying the first one to 100 wins, right? It was literally those Dallas and Kings series that kind of started that.
I remember that. Those were great to watch. That was prime Chris Webber, right?
Yeah, Mike Bibby. I was a big Mike Bibby fan, even though I hated playing him.
Yeah.
Does Mike Bibby have a chip?
Nah.
I don't think so because he went to
LeBron cost me a chip in 2011.
Touche, sir.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And although I think he came back, the guy who was like a good sixth man for a while, he played at Minnesota. Oh, I can't. Mike Miller.
Miller, another Heat douchebag.
He played for Memphis too. I think that's when he really that's where he got his name, being one of the great shooters.
Yeah, he's another one. Yeah.
2010, 2011, Bibby was on Miami and he didn't get it.
Yeah, LeBron cost him a championship, man. Mike Bibby could have had a ring.
That's crazy.
You taking Mike Bibby or White Chocolate?
Mike Bibby.
Oh, Mike Bibby's a better NBA point guard, yeah. I think, by far and away.
Oh, no, I agree. But I said, who are you taking?
Yeah, White. Hey, I with all due respect,
I like Mike Bibby, man. I got a soft spot for Mike Bibby because we battled him all those years, and I really liked him as a point guard. I just thought he was a good point guard, good solid point guard.
Yeah, White Chocolate. He got that ring with the Heat in 2006, but yeah, I'm still taking Mike Bibby.
Did he even play?
Yeah, he was a starting point guard.
Man, I don't remember that at all.
In the 2006 Heat.
Who was?
White Chocolate?
White Chocolate.
Oh, Jason Williams.
Remember that.
Yeah, when he left the Heat, I think he went to the Orlando Magic.
Interesting. I remember Gary Payton was on that Heat team as well.
Yeah. He was. He took that. I think he was like the seventh man off the bench. I think.
Yeah, Mike Miller did stick around, and he won the next 2 years with the Heat.
Dang.
Yeah.
And he was a big part of that team too. I can't hate on that. I
Oh
hated that style of play.
yeah. That man, he played good in that 2012, but that 2013 finals, yo, he was knocking down some crucial threes. I think like his shoe fell off in one of those
I
games.
remember that.
Yeah,
I
that's
remember
right. That's
that.
right.
I do remember that.
I was like,
And then he actually followed LeBron to Cleveland in 2014, 2015, but they lost that year in the finals.
oh
To
yeah,
who?
I forgot
Oh,
about
never
that.
mind. That's a stupid question. Never mind.
Yeah, he did go to Cleveland. I forgot all about that.
You know what's a fun game? We should try to set up sometime. I don't know if you guys ever seen it, but someone shows you just like the stat log of a player. So like the team they were on, their position, their stats, etc., and you try to guess who the player is. You ever seen guys play that game? We did it once on a stream with my friends. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Don't they do that with like Charles Barkley? Like they'll show some stat line and like who
I'm
is
sure
this? And he'll like
I'm sure plenty of people have done it by now.
I'm gonna pull one up real quick. Hold on. I'm gonna see if y'all can get
We're going totally off the rails here.
Well, you know it's interesting is I think on average like 18 in that series.
2011?
Yeah. Like it was like ludicrously low. And nobody, because when you talk about his legacy, like, yeah, he crapped the bed in 2011, but when you look at the numbers, since everybody's, a statistician now.
Yeah, they love numbers. Only when it benefits them. They love the numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
18 points, 60% from the free throw line, 48% from the field.
6-0?
6-0 from the free throw line.
Yikes. Wow.
32% from three.
So I got
24 turnovers. He almost
How many?
24. Dwayne Wade had 15. He's the next highest.
Hey, I got one for y'all. This guy put up 23 points, 10 assists, 25 rebounds.
I need what's the context though?
Hold on. He shot 90% from the field. He didn't shoot too good from the free throw line. And this was in the finals.
This is a Mav?
Oh, no, not a Mav, no. It's an Eastern Conference team.
It's got to be a big man. With those numbers, it's got to be a big man.
See, I don't want to go too far because I think y'all gonna guess it, but it was pre-merger.
Oh,
you're just talking about career stats.
Yeah.
No, not a career. No, this is a game in the finals.
Oh, dude, there's no way. Pre-merger?
Pre-merger, it's got to be when I was alive. Come on.
Okay, so he plays for the Celtics.
Russell?
Yep. See, that's why I didn't want to get too detailed, but like, bro, this man he was 10 of 11 from the field, good for 90%, 91 if you round up because it's 909. He didn't shoot good from the free throw line, but 25 rebounds, 10 assists, and 23 points. The man gave you a triple-double on 90% from the field. That's crazy.
To be fair, it was nothing but plumbers and, cable door-to-door knives salesman. So, I mean, that's not that impressive.
Yeah, vacuum cleaner representative. That's what I always think of.
You got Danny DeVito going door-to-door selling knives and vacuum cleaners.
When I think of old-timey salesman, I definitely think of a vacuum cleaner salesman. That's the first thing I think of.
I think of in Pittsburgh, when you graduate from high school, there was this company called like Velco or Vector or something like that, and they only sold knives, and they tried to recruit like every high school student ever.
Yeah,
it was like I think 100%. It was a cult. I think it was some kind of cult, honestly.
All right, Hoop God, we'll start wrapping it up. You have any last thoughts?
Man, enjoyed this topic. Giving Dirk the proper respect that he deserves for not only having an incredible playoff run, but destroying the self-proclaimed king and unceremoniously humbling him and showing him, no, you're not ready to win yet, little fella. So, hey, it's imperative that we destroy these narratives. That's all I got for that.
What about you, Speem?
Hey, listen, I appreciate y'all. This was actually pretty. I shouldn't say actually, like I didn't expect it to be, but I didn't know that. I wasn't that knowledgeable about that series, so it was pretty informative. I'd love to get back to that Luka versus Dirk kind of conversation because people put their hearts and their minds into that, man. I think it's a fascinating kind of topic, and I like this. I like these kind of like looking back at series kind of retrospects. I think we should keep this up.
Yeah, and like to kind of prove my point too, right? If Luka wins, let's just say an MVP and a ring, right? He's got to be over Dirk, right? With what he's done. I mean, the only difference is the way Dirk won his, right? Was just so epic.
Yeah.
Who knows if Luka could ever do something like that, right? Or even be given the opportunity, right? Like Kyrie goes down in, the first game 1 or something like that, and then Luka, an opportunity is going to have to be kind of presented to him, I think, for him to live up to that kind of height. But
what if he doesn't
it's definitely an interesting conversation. We could definitely pick it up some other time.
We should, because if he doesn't get a chip, that kind of negates almost everything you said. If he has longevity stats, like some people we know, that changes things.
And knock on wood, I hope he does. I hope so bad.
Yeah,
man, I appreciate the topic. I'm always down to talk Mavs. You don't have to twist my arm. So
good talk.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, I think we should maybe encourage people to suggest topics that aren't stupid, just to see where it goes. I'd love to know why players don't want to play in Dallas. Also, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess Dallas also isn't like a LA, New York vibe, even Miami vibe, right? It's northern Texas, no water around, I don't know.
You don't need a license. Just carry. That's all. Yeah, You're right. Never mind. I take it back. That I know why people don't go there. Never mind.
No, it's because of the Cowboys, unfortunately. I mean, now all 3 have won. Shout out to the Rangers. So it's not many cities who have their top 3 sports have championships. So finally, we can put the Dallas Mavericks, Texas Rangers, and Cowboys. So yeah.
Stars got one too. So
and the Stars, yeah, can't forget about them. Yeah.
Yep. All right, I think we're gonna end it here.
Fellas.
Yeah, I had it was a good talk, and we'll come up with something for next week. Maybe we get Dart to put a poll out or something, but we'll figure it out.
Indeed.
Cool.
All right, and as always,
appreciate y'all.
Michael Jordan fans are the best.